Wake up, grab your cereal bowl, pour some milk, let the cartoons roll. Every week it's a brand new show on Resolute Germ channel. Let's go! From zany laughs to heroic feats, villains, toasters, and robot beats. It's the weekend vibe, you know the deal. Cartoon dreams that feel so real. It's Saturday morning, the fun begins on Resolute Germs, where nostalgia wins. Every week it's a different surprise, adventure and laughter before your eyes. Old school classics and fresh new finds, characters that'll blow your mind. Heroes, monsters, the goofy, the bold, timeless stories never grow old. Super spy spaceships in flight, wacky antics till the noonday light. No repeats, it's always brand new. Saturdays for cartoons, and we're here with you. It's Saturday morning, the fun begins on Resolute Germs, where nostalgia wins. Every week it's a different surprise, adventure and laughter before your eyes. Gather of friends or chill solo, the chat's alive with that cartoon glow. Every frame's a portal in time, let's relive the magic with the rhythm and rhyme. So tune in, don't hit snooze. Resolute Germs got the shows to choose. Saturday mornings, the cartoons call. Join the party, we're having a ball. And Resolute Germs, Saturday morning cartoons. Where every week, the fun's brand new. You said, mention some cartoons in the song. ChatGPT said.
Excellent. Good morning, good sir. Thank you for having me here.
Good morning, Curtis. Welcome, everyone, to Saturday Morning Cartoons. And today we'll be showing Fist of the North Star again.
Yay! Only this will be the movie, correct? Instead of the cartoon, the TV show?
No, this will be the more of the episodes.
Oh, okay. That's cool. That works.
I wasn't able to get a
good
version of the movie.
I'm sorry about that. It can be hard to get. The movie is slightly different, and what's weird is usually when people make the movie and the TV show different, they screw it up for me, but I love them both very much. So.
Yeah, usually they do mess that up when they change it up. What's different about the movie?
It's a bit of a spoiler. Basically, the biggest thing is Yulia has a very different ending in the TV show and in the movie, but it doesn't, for me at any rate, it doesn't ruin the story. It's still really, really powerful. But yeah, the Yulia has a distinctly different ending. It's still true to her character, though. The other characters in the show react to it the way I would see them doing. So it's really powerfully done. But the only reason I'm being vague is because to me, I loved seeing a different, I still had some surprises, even though I had seen the movie. The TV show still had surprises in store for me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I think it actually arrange that.
Woo!
Let's get this started.
Yeah. Hey, some dumbass put a meme in your Cosme. What a jerk. Sorry. I'm being silly.
That's okay.
I'm pretending like I still have a sense of humor. Ha ha. I can still laugh. Ha ha.
Okay. Great 80s theme.
It's funny your song talked about snooze. I hit snooze until the very last possible moment. And then I was like, I got to get up because haven't even texted him or anything. I got to pretend like I'm professional-ish.
Oh yeah, I was pretty much in the same boat. I made this at probably 5 a.m. and next thing I know, I'm just asleep here in the chair.
I don't blame you even a little bit. Hmm. Is it spinning for you as well, or is it just me? Because I've been having some computer issues.
No, it looks okay on this end.
Yeah, it's just me. Dadgummit. I'd rather it was that than the other, but still, it's like, come on, computer, work with me. All right. Fine.
I'm getting to see with titles like this that this is where all the anime stereotypes came from.
A lot of them did, yeah. A lot of them. Either that or they all came from a common source. Cosme. Show up.
Well, at least he's being productive with his madness.
Yeah, I got to give it to him on that. Hey, look, it's those annoying kids. Just to be fair, I actually don't find them annoying, but I can understand if other people do.
Yeah, I can understand why he finds them annoying.
Yeah.
He goes through all that trouble so they don't get killed.
And then, hey, let's go get killed. Yeah.
Like you haven't seen murderous intent before.
Yeah. I'm not scared when he blows up people's heads with his fist, but I'm scared of that look. do wish I was built more like him. That would be so cool.
Oh yeah, that's much preferred to compared to the amorphous blob of which I've become.
I doubt if I'm. I have been trying to lose weight. I think I'm within sight of where I want to be, but I'll just keep my fingers crossed and keep doing what I'm doing. A statue fell apart. Oh, this is different than the movie too. Because I'm hot. And thanks to Hope to Shinken, he's able to bring me to orgasm over and over.
That would seem to be kind of dangerous.
Yeah, he touched her just the wrong way and her head exploded. Nah, the roll credits. Oh, he didn't have a motorcycle in the movie.
Well, he doesn't have a motorcycle now either.
Well, no, he doesn't. Yeah, this, as you already know, this is you finally get the big reveal of how he got here. I think most of it you could already piece together from the other exposition dumps, but
Yeah. It's too bad that was a nice looking motorcycle too.
it was. And it's post-apocalyptic, so they're not building many of them. And make hair metal bands. Dun dun dun. Whoa! That's what happens when I ask women out most of the time. He's a typical Oklahoma redneck.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun. That's also different in the movie. The master was still alive at this point in the movie. He passed away later. Minor difference. Dun dun dun. I love how they have the sports highlights announcements. Who's using what techniques.
Oh yeah, they do that a lot in anime.
I think I've read this in some self-help books.
Oh yeah, that's half the Manosphere Online.
Yep. If you just want it more than the other guy, you can use your Fist of the South Star to defeat the Fist of the North Star. I'm pretty sure I read that in 7 Habits of Highly Effective Hope to Shinken.
Yeah.
Man, that hurts.
Oh, that definitely hurts.
Yep. And now you know he got those legendary scars. My only regret is we didn't get to see the cartoons for the cereals.
They had cereals of this?
No, I'm just being silly. You know how they used to advertise for breakfast cereals on the Saturday morning cartoons?
Oh, yeah. They had a cereal for almost everything.
Yeah. Frosted Bloody Charms, they're tragically delicious. North Stars, yellow hairs, karate chops, and blue diamonds. A place where men's eyebrows look normal. And today it's a cool 127 degrees. Time to go outside and do your chores. Wreak vengeance on those who have destroyed you.
Oh, that's always a fun Saturday.
You got it. That's the way I like to spend my Saturdays. Sadly, most of those who oppose me have met their untimely demise. Okay, maybe not. Well, that didn't really happen.
So I
That
guess
didn't.
he's just too angry to die.
Yeah, basically, his sheer will, his Hokushinken techniques, his love for Yulia, his hate for Ken, his quest for justice, the fact that he looks really cool in a cape. Between all of it, he just can't die. That's why I'm jumping off this building. Oh, wait. No, that doesn't work. What's going to happen? It will be an epic battle. Or will it?
Well, at least he wasn't messy about that one.
No, he wasn't. Yeah, he just kind of shut the guy off. Is all he. I mean, I don't even think he killed him. He may have left him a vegetable for all I know, but. The bad guys are nothing if not eloquent. Oh, wow.
That's impressive. Turned him
That's
into
really
grenades.
impressive. I don't think I would attack him after that. I think I'd just kind of be like, okay, sir, would you like some tea? It's kind of like that scene in Firefly where Mal shoves the guy into the jet and kills him. And the next guy's like, yeah, I got the message. I'll deliver
Yeah.
it. Yeah, maybe my boss will be mad, but I'll at least live long enough to see it. Dun, dun, dun. I think the real reason Yulia doesn't succumb to him is she's tired of being surrounded by people with mohawks.
Yeah, that would get tiresome.
Yep. They came in peace. Now they will go in pieces. Okay, maybe not. Man, Ken had a really big, not Ken, whatever the bad guy's name is.
Shin?
Shin, thank you. I had a senior moment. Huh? That's not water. Or is it? This guy's kind of like a mix of Joker and Gambit. But I'm glad that they tell me what their techniques are so I can study them and learn these masterful arts. I don't know why my career in martial arts doesn't get any improvement.
Maybe if they released the video games over here.
That would be cool. I guess they do make them in Japan. Oh, they make them in Japan.
Yeah, they had one back in '86, and also one on PlayStation.
Nice.
But no, it was PlayStation 2.
I want to play a weird Joker-esque character. Those damn kids. Maybe this time it'll actually be helpful if they disobeyed him.
Yeah, if it wasn't for those damn kids.
Yep. I could have gotten away with it. Your purple-haired love still adores you.
Why is she purple haired now?
I don't, because she's with the bad guy. I don't know, really. No, he is not. Do not underestimate Hope Tushinkin. I do
Yeah, of
not
course
understand.
he's alive.
Of course he
He's
is.
living barbecue, but he's alive.
Yeah, he survived by eating his own flesh. He just regenerated it with some random Hope Tushinkin technique. You are shock. He finds an oasis ruled by the terrifying battalion of God's army. Oh, we're going full on Bruce Lee now. I need to memorize that in Japanese. Monomo Shamanari. You're already dead. That might be why Japanese people don't like me so well, since that's about the only Japanese I know. You know, introducing yourself as you're already dead.
Yeah, that can be troublesome.
I do love this intro.
Yeah, good intro.
Mankind hasn't died. So dramatic.
Oh, we got a beat.
Hey guys,
Hey,
happy Memorial Day.
You are shock. The sky's falling down with love. You're in shock.
we got some Fist of the North Star for you.
Yeah, I'm jumping on there now.
Even if he binds my burning heart with chains, now it's useless. Out down the bastard who gets in my way with just one fingertip. You're in shock. Heartbeats rise with love. Sorry, don't mind me.
Hi, Curtis.
Hi.
As usual, Germ's theater is acting totally weird and will not help me until I log out.
Good photo, sir.
What a week. Good to see you.
I know it's very silly, but when I first saw this, every time she does this right here, I would just be like in awe. Look at them wandering through this wasteland, and she is shedding her tears because the wind is so harsh. I've been in that kind of wind. It just drove tears from your eyes, whether you liked it or not.
That's most of the Southwest.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Orders from Satan. It's kind of like the time
you gotta follow those, right?
You got to. You know, one time I did sell my soul to Satan for ultimate cosmic powers, and I didn't get the powers, so I went back to the attorney to see what was wrong, and I found I'd sold my soul to Stan Buttram. So, you know.
Yeah, that's always troublesome.
It took me so long to find who really owned it and buy it back. Yeah, he had eyes like stars over a soulful meadow. Wow. My last girlfriend just said that she was happy I paid the check.
Yeah, that's what they usually care about.
Yeah. I kind of think Joker Gambit is a cool bad guy. He's not in the movie. It kind of makes me sad.
We had an interesting amenity here at the building today, Germ. Hot
Yep.
water.
Hot water?
It was incredible. It fell from the ceiling and washed away all the grime of the 2 days of not having hot water.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to mist down for 2 straight days in the freezing cold water, just jump in and jump out. Oh, it was
Jeez.
painful. Oh, it was painful.
Hot water. Check it and see.
Gonna clean it. Gonna clean up filthy old me. I was dirty. I was so dirty.
I don't blame you. We had a water outage out here that lasted, I want to say, about a week. And so the town bought bottles of water for us. So I'd use them and some soap to at least vaguely make myself less filthy. It was tough. No.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times I had to fill the bong with Gatorade instead of water.
Yeah, I understand. What is that? So it's like Nazis? Oh, I said the word. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
That's okay.
I said the word.
For
I
some
said it.
reason, the Japanese like portraying anything named God in a bit Nazi-esque fashion.
National socialist type things.
Here's the thing. Even look at Godzilla -1. The experimental plane is covered with German writing.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because they got it from Germany.
Or at least the ejector seat.
But in that case, that is actually based on a true story, because the Japanese had like 3 prototype jet planes that they never reverse engineered.
Oh, wow.
The Germans were able to smuggle those and a bunch of other stuff to the Japanese before the Russians basically burnt down Berlin.
Oh, I heard that the Russians were completely civilized and kind to the Berliners. I'm teasing.
Oh, nice little protection racket.
You got it.
Best thing we can say about the Russians in Berlin is they left half of everybody alone.
Yes.
Yeah, they like to make half of them watch like they did those unspeakable things.
Yes. Ken's manager.
We called them the least Germans for a reason. Fucking cowardly murdering Germans. At least of that era.
Yeah. No.
Like during World War II, we didn't like them, but like one of the things that the U.S. kept saying was like the German army has fought hard, but not really misbehaved in the battlefield too much. On the Eastern Front, it was such an abomination that going into combat against us was viewed as vacation from rear echelon duty on the Eastern
Yes.
Front.
Yes. I've heard that.
And we were very unpleasant to the Germans.
Yeah, but we were humane. We just killed them.
I know that there was a small prison camp back in one of the small towns near where I grew up, and they had a few Germans there.
I think that's where my grandfather became a citizen. I mean, I've heard of such camps.
Well, you know, I knew a guy from Minnesota whose dad had been a sergeant in the German army during World War II. I don't doubt that it was something like that that made him a citizen. I'm figuring
The majority of them asked to stay, by the way.
Yeah.
What does that say about? I mean, we were a lot meaner to our own citizens. Like Sulu didn't have the best World War II.
Right. But I got to admit, if I had the choice, American prison camp.
Yeah.
Sure.
A detainment camp, whatever. We got to be really careful about that one.
Well,
I call them
You're
patriotism. I call them patriotism enhancement zones.
Yes.
You like that
Oh.
euphemism, Germ?
Yeah, it's a good euphemism.
Oh man, he crippled that guy.
It's never pretty to see a lumbering giant like that cry.
Dun dun dun. Nobody expects the Inquisition. You know, you got to admit, the Germans did have really cool fashion sense.
Yeah, in their way.
The German uniform designers, like they were captured. They survived the war, right? And they were like whatever judged to be not, part of it because all they did was design the uniforms, right?
Right.
It becomes Hugo Boss. The fashion line known as Hugo Boss is the guy.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah,
and
Wow.
And before the war, they designed the police uniforms of New Jersey and Ireland. But if you look at Google New Jersey State Trooper and look at the uniform,
I shall so do right now.
you're going to be like, what kind of American police force would keep this? You're going to ask yourself what kind of American police force would not just fix that. It's too much.
Evidently, New Jersey.
All they make there is traffic jams. I hate New Jersey.
Right.
No, I mean, it's fine. New Jersey is actually a very, very nice place, and it's very, very beautiful. But, I mean, the Jersey State Troopers are highly combative and fucked up and mean. They're not known, believe it or not, the New York State Troopers are known as kind of pragmatic.
Yeah, I bet, honestly.
I don't know what it's like to drive in New York
SS.
with an out-of-state license. The uniforms? Yeah, or on the show. Because this guy's Mad Max. He's got the whole outfit.
Yeah. Google sucks sometimes. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Wow, I see what you're talking about. And they haven't changed these in all these years? Wow.
No, that would cost money, and New Jersey only spends money on crooked stuff.
Oh, kind of like Oklahoma used to do and kind of still does some of the time. We've gotten better, but Oklahoma was so crooked for so long. Hey, I'm not talking to people in the chat. I'm a bad host. Booger 414. Howdy.
Hey, Booger.
Hugo Boss also continued to make police uniforms for West Germany. And if you think New Jersey is bad, take a look at Rhode Island state police uniforms.
What do they have, like spiked helmets on top of it? How can it be worse?
Although I'm gonna look.
Let me put it this way: the designer, and I think Karl Lagerfeld might be associated with it, but I think he's later on. He's like the protege of Hugo Boss after bad stuff happens. But I think that. And even Michael Kors all stem from the same original company. And if you look especially at the outerwear coats of Hugo Boss, they look like what they were.
Wow.
They took the badging off. Every once in a while, they'll put them out with a big H badge on the on the sleeve. You know what I mean? Like a Hugo Boss logo. Yeah, they'll put out branded Hugo Boss jackets. Hugo Boss is a big brand.
Oh, yeah, they are. I didn't know these things because I'm living my own little happy place.
Look, you know what? You want to see a bad police uniform? Google Irish police, Irish Republic of Ireland police, 1941.
Oh no!
And look at images. And look at images.
Republic of Ireland police, 1941.
And just hit images. Oh, they have Joffers in Rhode Island? I've spent my fair share of time in Rhode Island. It's not far away. Right now, I'm only like 9 miles from Rhode Island. I mean, it's across an angry river and a bay, but it's only about 9 miles away. I can see it at night. But every Long Islander looks across on the North Shore can look across to Connecticut. And it's weird because people in the South Shore of Connecticut can look at Long Island. And I don't know how that works, but I think it needs to be strongly looked into. Am I right?
I agree. This is a crime against humanity.
Yeah, the Irish literally just bought the SS coats.
Looks like it.
And the helmets. And the hats.
Wow.
And they just changed the armbands to have Garda on them instead of, whatever else. Absolute and sad. Like, what kind of guns do they have?
Well,
Also,
it has to be German because the Irish wouldn't use anything English.
No, except the language. I'm hearing little bongo sounds. Is that somebody's computer?
Bongos?
Yeah.
I don't have any bongos going on.
It sounds like a notification sound. It's like boom, boop. Happening. It happened like 3 times in in a minute, and then I don't know. It hasn't happened in a few seconds.
Of course, I haven't been paying attention. I've been looking up uniforms and stuff, but I don't recall hearing any notifications over here.
Oh, hey. Booger 414, they barely, they misuse the language. We're two people separated by a common language, but I say you're a couple of hours from Rhode Island, and you can see Long Island from your town. So you're in Connecticut. Okay. You know what? It's beautiful. I love Mystic Seaport. I love going up to Rhode Island. And when I was a scout, I used to go to Yagu, which is in Rhode Island. Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. Part of the camp's in Connecticut because Rhode Island is just that small. But it's a scout reservation rather than a scout camp. It's in the movie Moonrise Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
Southwest Connecticut. You know what? Hello, my brother Northeasterner. We have similar accents. Hell, the Northeast shall rule the world.
Yeah, it might as well. The world's not doing a very good job of it.
I I'm fairly confident we'll be the non-Canadian Republic of the Northeast in like 5 years. I feel it coming. I think we're going from United to Confederated States of America, but who cares?
I will just be happy if we don't devolve into a civil, thing that YouTube won't let me talk about.
I don't think it'll get open. I think what'll happen, it'll be fought in courtrooms.
Yeah. As long as it's that way. I'm not saying I don't care, because I'd really rather.
No, I mean I
that
do
but
care, but I mean
yeah. But
they might
I can
decide
accept
that
it. I can deal with it.
if in sometime in the next 0 to 15 years we find out that America's had it and has stayed together long enough for the sake of the kids, and they're gonna they don't want to be together no more, and now there's 2 or 3 or 4, as long as they don't hate each other.
Yeah.
Although I would predict that if it's only Texas, it immediately goes to war and loses against Mexico.
Yeah,
We will not be able to restrain Texas from sending every cop and National Guardsman they have to attack like a sovereign nation.
Yeah. Texas is a good match for Mexico.
It'll be victorious for the first like 200 days, and then everyone will be like, "Well, we won," and decide it's over. Then the Mexican army will strike back. I mean, they have a navy, they have submarines. Texas has like a National Guard.
They don't have submarines.
They probably have a few diesel ones, and they're probably not running drug interdiction, more like drug dealer escort. But yeah, they have them. I don't think they have the kind we have. We gave them like a whole bunch of World War II ships when we were done with them. If we break apart, I think it'll be at least 4 divisions. I agree with that. I think sounds about right, and that like the 2 coasts will be united. They will be like the Federation of Coastal Columbia or something weird like that. And then we will have like the hillbilly Republic of West Virginia that no other state will allow to join with them. And we'll have like the South will have like a new Southern government, and then like Texasistan is the one that I think could go insane and like launch an airstrike on Canada and an invasion of Mexico day 1 of independence. New York does have its own navy. You are correct. It's not huge, but if the country broke up, who got the military would be the biggest division. Yeah. And I foresee what would happen is this. We would keep the military together so that no one deploys it against each other. I think Texas takes Oklahoma and maybe New Mexico with it. Yeah, if they become a 3-state like regional republic, the other 2 states might convince Texas not to airstrike Toronto and invade Mexico. But like, believe me, they're going to. If Texas becomes its own country, it will attack Mexico within a week. If it takes a week, that's because the Peacenik faction really made a great case.
Yeah.
Right.
They'll take Louisiana with them.
And by take, we mean these states will willingly join. Louisiana, I could see going either way, yeah. I could easily see it going with them.
I read a book about...
And Wisconsin and Minnesota would go to war. Go ahead.
Oh, nice. I mean, no, that would be terrible. I read a book here a while back called Santa Fe Sunrise or something like that. The guy was predicting that the United States would break up, and Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Kansas, Louisiana, Missouri, and Arkansas became a new thing.
Unfortunately, I don't think Chuck Norris could be president of Texas. They already have him as a minor deity.
I would vote for Chuck Norris.
It would be better to have Chuck Norris for governor than anyone else. I don't know who their governor is, but he's no Chuck Norris. Michigan splits because the Ubers hate the Southern side. Yeah, you're talking about the Peninsula people in Escanaba. Yeah, here's the thing. The people in Michigan, it's really totally split. They have a blue governor, but he could flip back to red anytime. The only reason their red governor is gone was because, one, he kept getting convicted over and over and over for being corrupt, but like pleading it down to the thing that kept him in office. So he's a criminal in office for the first thing. And the second one was about 3 or 4 re-elections in, so he is just like in there too long. He ran on a promise to preserve the only thing they had except the auto industry, and the auto industry, as we know, very very sensitive to the economy. They
Yes.
had a burgeoning and very very fledgling but strong film industry, and he got rid of the tax credit, and they lost the whole industry. So they hated
Wow.
him. Well, the thing is, he won, promising to preserve it and promising to enhance it. And day one, he's like, "I've reconsidered," and he doubled down on like his original policy.
Wow.
Yeah, because the other person was going to win based on that policy. And then for his entire term, everyone turned on him. The Republicans hated him too. They're like, "You can't betray faith like that and govern." And so like he existed at like 6%, and that's how Whitler got in, or Whitmer, whatever her name is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it wasn't because she was so great. It was because people despised the other guy.
You know, I've had a chance to talk to a lot of the Canadians in my community, but I haven't had a chance to talk to you. What do you think about the recent Canada election?
That was not really an election.
Do you think it was stolen or?
They voted for a British guy to basically rule him like a premier of Russia.
Right.
I'll just point
Yeah.
out our first 6 presidents were British citizens.
Next, say 10 to 20 years, by the time the great run they have laid out for the Republican Party, there will be a few less Canadian provinces and a few more American states.
Oh, what's not taking those snowbilly grifters? They have no fucking capitalistic skills at all.
That's okay. They're not the important part. It's all the resources they have up north that they haven't been able to exploit in the last 100 years.
It's not a merit-based society. It will take 5 generations to make Americans out of those fucking grifters. Inside every Canadian, there is not an American dying to come out. Inside of every Canadian, there is a fucking Soviet.
That's okay. We'll breed that out of them. As long as we get all their oil and gold. They have millions of barrels of oil and more gold than California did.
Wow. Booger says no
They're-
to accepting the snow Mexicans.
Thank you. And by the way, they have oil, but their oil has to be refined out of fucking dirt. They have shale oil. That has the most labor intensive, hardest to extract, lowest quality. We do not get light, sweet crude from it, and it's extremely environmentally destructive. Every gallon of shale oil gasoline made creates more pollution than 75 car batteries, like electric
Holy
car batteries.
crap.
Yeah, it's really bad.
I'm okay with that. That's a lot of oil and a lot of gold. I'm willing to deal with a bunch of assholes to get that oil and gold.
The Chinese make a few $100s per barrel in royalties for inventing the process. The Canadians willingly give it to them.
Wow.
Oh, that's the great part. Once we take over, those royalties go away because we don't honor any of the Canadian contracts.
Man, don't drink my Crown Royal or whatever that is.
It'd be a horrible shame if Crown Royal is the only liquor that survived the apocalypse.
You tell him.
There's some prepper out there with like a bunch of Jack Daniels. Like, I could use this to trade for food, and he will.
Yeah. When I was still in the industry, I had several cases of booze, but I've already traded them for help and stuff. So I'm a terrible prepper. Their uniforms are kind of like a cross of National Socialist and evil French.
Yeah, those berets are suspicious. There's a movement in Alberta to join the U.S. Yeah, I've heard that. They're not very happy with Toronto.
Who is, besides the globalists?
Well, Booger, it was the 80s. Everyone had shoulder pads.
The weird shoulder decorations. They're shoulder pads. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's the 80s.
I honestly don't want to merge with a rainbow fascist commie state. I don't want them. Let them make their own way and show that they're anything but loser commie grifters before we let them. Let's see the Alberta make its own way for 5 years and make some trade agreements and act normal. And let's see them get like all the fucking criminals, grifters, and fucking fentanyl addicts out of their fucking shitbag province. Calgary and Alberta. Calgary is a fucking dump. Edmonton is a fucking dump. We don't want it.
Damn that PTSD. The Dark Sun D&D setting.
Well, Kin makes another orphan.
Yeah, exactly. They're evil. They must perish.
Oh, when I let an explorer post, we had uniforms like that. They're black and white instead of green and brown.
Explorers are like Big Brother Boy Scouts. It's cool. They're cool.
Okay.
The Explorers are for people over 18 who still enjoy the camping, outdoorsmanship, and morality of scouting. And so, you know, they're adults, so they're like, you know, we're not going to, hang out with kids.
Right.
But we still love having fun. We still love camping. We still love outdoorsmanship. We still love tying knots, and we still love doing good deeds. We're going to hang out together as, righteous adults, and
That's
it's nice.
cool.
They interact with scouts in the sense that they're like a big brother organization that sometimes coordinates with them. They're not the same organization. And I can't speak to the Explorers after, say, 1990. I was never one. I was a Boy Scout when I was young, though.
Right. No, he's already dead.
I don't know what it says that's where I learned to smoke pot and love the Who, though.
Yep.
Oh, 14 to 21. urban career stuff.
Yeah, they're beyond scout age. Oh, it is sort of the yeah, it is sort of the same. All right, I was a little bit off in age, but yeah, I knew that they were over scouting age. Although I believe scouting age ends at 18, so there's a slight overlap. I would say this: a lot of the things they say about the scouts are wrong. There are bad scoutmasters, but there's like, hey, LDG, there's probably like 3,300, if not 6,000 or 7,000 Boy Scout, or now it's called Scouting troops in the United States. And they're very patriotic organizations with no political outlook. It's fine. Yeah. In fact, politicians need to stay away. Politicians need to stay away from Boy Scouts.
Yeah, I always thought that the Boy Scout, or well, however you want to describe them, were a great organization, and it just makes me sad that people have tried to destroy them. Howdy, LDG. We were watching Fist of the North Star. Because we are the true masters of Hope to Shinkin. Way to go, Ken. You're just gathering a bunch of kids. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of weird.
Booger's telling us stuff I wasn't aware of, but they have little time for external politics because of all the internal politics.
Oh.
I know that there's rival organizations.
Don't really have scouts over here anymore.
Rival, well, I mean, it's amazing that they wouldn't because you have so much beautiful, pristine wilderness. But you know what? The problem with scouting was this. In local areas, like, especially like places like, forgive me if you're there, but in Utah, for instance, like the most popular religious organization in Utah had totally taken over the scouts, and like scouting in Utah was completely unrecognizable from scouting everywhere else, and the scouts had to fucking desanctify and close down their operation and start up again in Utah, and the other ones became the Trail Scouts, I believe they're called.
It's kind of what happened here, except for they just disavowed everybody, and now it's just a bunch of organizations.
Now they're the khaki scouts.
Yeah.
Rival parents forming rival troops. That's the healthiest thing you can do, though.
That took over was communism.
That's not going to happen to the Boy Scouts. If you split from Boy Scout, if you start acting like a communist, your troop will get kicked out.
Yeah.
You show up to a scout jamboree with the fucking Russian flag, you're gone forever, and you're banned from, like, you're a trespasser at scouting reservations and scout camps. Absolutely. It was started by a guy in England to breed leadership for the British Empire. And it's like a nationalistic leadership organization in every country it's in. But, like, nationalism on a child's level, it's appropriate. Although, I guess, like, you know.
No, we can't have patriotism. We must bring every country down and enslave it to the globalists.
I don't know. You could also have people who have their fingers into the whole world and are still patriotic. I go to a church that's worldwide, but there's still an American flag on the altar, right?
Right. Lord Baden Powell, Trail Life USA.
Correct. It's a post-World War I idea.
I know Robert Heinlein was a huge fan of the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, he was quite the nationalist.
Right on.
You know who's a huge fan of the Boy Scouts? You'll never believe this one, speaking with to a totally different topic than this, but an artist nonetheless.
Right.
Keith Richards. said it was the most important formative experience of his life, taught him the only discipline he knew, and that the knots were very, very useful tying guitar strings, and that the leadership stuff, he took to it right away. He loved being a leader. He loved being an example. He loved being the most exactly outfitted scout, which does not sound like the guy we know. He had a perfect uniform. He loved carrying the colors. He was very patriotic and into England, and he endorsed scouting like heavily in the book Life. Old Lord Baden-Powell wanted me for the Empire, you see, but I took to it like a fish to water. That's why he's still alive.
Rutro Raggy.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for them.
He's going full sleep mode.
Well, he didn't make any of their heads explode.
Yeah, he was nice to these guys. No!
FYI, all YouTube analytics are still down.
What? What does that even mean?
Last night's show for me shows 2 views, but we know that there was like about 170 people there. We got super chats from more than 3 people.
Wow. What? Wow. Okay.
By the way, Booger414 is correct about Keith. He also says Cub Scouting started in Greenwich, Connecticut. I can believe that because Cub Scouting is like an add-on that becomes part of Boy Scouting and may not be in any other country but ours. I don't know that there are Cub Scouts anywhere else. That might be uniquely American. Thank you for that information. And Keith Richards will outlive all these post-apocalyptic warriors we are watching. Yeah. And me. And Germ. And Curtis. And you, Booger. And you,
hey,
Booger.
That's my name.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Keith will he'll be wandering the wasteland like Hulk in his final comic.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be Hulk and the Maestro. I honestly think that when the alien archaeologists arrive on Earth, they're going to find a society of cockroaches who are all big fans of Keith Richards, who has trained up 4 cockroaches to play instruments, and he's up there singing, and it's like, you shouldn't take it so hard, yeah. And it's like, first 100 years was the worst while I was training up the first group of cockroaches, see? But they were good lads. I call that one Mick. Hey, mate, you know that cockroach lass? She's all right. You think you could hook me up with her? I mean, that's going to be Keith in 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have either of you heard of the tabletop RPG called Paranoia?
No, I don't know anything about it.
It's post-apocalyptic. At the very spoiler alert. Sorry if you ever end up playing it, but at the end of the introductory module, you face these 2 mutated giant roaches who are trying to find cultural artifacts of the old society.
I've never heard of this game, but I'm sure it's out to get me.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, but it's paranoid.
It is paranoid. The whole idea is just to have lots of violent fun.
Yeah, it does sound interesting, Booger.
Yeah, I can see where Booger is with getting fed up with internal politics. Doing music and just having 5 collaborators in a band. Throw in 5 girlfriends. I had to have an ongoing relationship with 8 people other than my own girlfriend to keep that band alive. I had to like be like half a boyfriend to my own friends. It was so freaking burdensome.
How we never saw the danger of hungry hippos is beyond me.
Pablo Escobar did. He had a hippo farm, and now there are indigenous hippos, or whatever you want to call them, protected hippos all over Colombia.
Woo!
Oh, they're
Yeah.
not even protected. They're a menace.
They are an absolute menace. They kill dozens of people a year by mistake.
The 8 Yokos. Truly, Booger, the horrors you describe cannot be conceived of.
Yeah, like do you work at Camp X-Ray?
I am contemplating the concrete.
It's totally by mistake, Booger. They busted Pablo, and no one sought to get his hippos. But by the time they realized what was going on, the hippos were completely ingrained into the territory, and it's kind of like the pythons in
No,
Florida.
in Florida.
Here's the deal.
There's nothing
like,
man can do to ever get rid of them.
Here's the deal. The hippos, they might be able to get rid of them. It would take a concerted effort. I think they've like free ranged them into a certain area. But yeah, what happened was he had like his own private crazy fucking zoo. But the certain animals, like for instance the hippo, it's an exact mimicry of their fucking environment.
Yep.
Yeah.
The problem is they destroy any water source that they get into.
Colombia actually tried to do something about them. They tried
They've controlled
sterilizing them all. Yeah, they
They're
tried to
controlling them.
sterilize them all.
You can't capture, track, and
Unfortunately.
sterilize a rhino. You're going to lose vets.
Yeah, they sterilized a good, like 36 of them. They thought they got them all.
It only took 1 or 2, though, right?
Yeah, they missed a couple, and the population quadrupled on them.
Wow.
We're talking about quadrupling from 4 to 48, but I mean from 12 to 48. But that's like they cannot get a handle on it. It's up to like 100 or something now. Like it was just
it's
the
over 100
environment. The environment was ideal, and short of going in there with helicopters to shoot them down, there's no way to control them. They are so much stronger than a human being, and they've really fucked up the environment. What if we bring the Colombian hippopotami to Florida to fight the pythons? Just a thought. I would.
Yes, great idea. I love it.
I'm for that. Go hippos.
Yeah, that could work.
You want to see a hilarious piece of video? Google python explodes after eating pig. I think it's a pig. Fucking Florida, a giant Florida python got a pig, an escaped factory farm pig, and ate it whole. And after a couple of hours, it was just like the snake couldn't take it, and the snake just explodes from the middle. Like some tourists got it on video.
Yeah, that's what we really need. Florida full of gators, pythons, hippos, and wild boars.
If by that you mean the people of Florida, not all of them are that boring, but yeah. The only place I ever went where people put political bumper stickers on the roof of their car.
Well, they turn them up so often, they might as well.
It is probably the most heavily campaigned in state because it's purple. But no, I mean, like, more than one person down there had completely covered their car in Ron Paul stickers. Remember him? OG conspiracy
Yeah.
daddy? Yeah, the batshit rantings of Ron Paul. Ron Paul. Rand Paul is batshit, but every once in a while he cycles back to relatively normal and says a few things that I can relate to.
He's good for the most part.
His toupee is fucking laughable. He's got the worst fake hair.
Yeah, he does get kind of crazy on certain things. He's a little bit too libertarian.
Booger has it right. The Ron Paul movement got out of hand. His one or two good ideas grew into like this overriding, overly simplistic philosophy where it's just like, if we do nothing and fire the whole government and have a utopia and no one bothers us and disband the army and have no paper currency, it'll be a utopia. And it's like, the fuck are you talking about? I saw someone wrap their car, even the roof, the whole roof, the front of the side view mirror, everything. Every day driving home on Colonial Drive in Orlando, I would see that car. Dude, just driving down Colonial Drive in Orlando, you will see things that will make you question humanity. I saw this. I swear to God, I saw this. You ready? A guy on his motorcycle taking advantage of the fact there's no helmet law. So be it, right? So be it. So be it, right? Guess what he's doing with his no helmet on?
Meth.
Well, probably first, but yeah, smoking, which you can handle, although those ashes and shit are blowing right in your face and eyes. Like, I don't know why you would want to smoke on a bike. And two, texting.
Oh, wow.
So no hand on the brake.
Oh, my gosh.
Just on the throttle. One-handing it with your eye on your phone. This is the problem with the libertarians. It starts off with no taxes and very quickly devolves into unlocked banks and free meth. He's not all that wrong.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think the Libertarian Party might, at this point, out of frustration, have an infusion of rational, disaffected Republicans, and there will be like non-MAGA centrist semi-conservatives, and they might be able to be the go-betweens between what remains of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. They might be able to be the go-betweens of like, hey, we're the not Trump Republican guys. Like, we don't hate him, but like we're not totally down with him. Like, we listen to half of what he says. You guys, you want a truce.
As far as nationally goes, the Libertarian Party got flooded by the anti-Trumpers.
Yeah,
They all got ran out last year.
Here's the thing: if they can hew to their old Republican original OG GOP values and lead with that rather than we can't stand Trump, they will start to prosper.
Possibly, but they're not doing a good job so far.
Traditionally, they never have. But I mean, the weird thing is the Republicans and the Democrats can also be accused of the same thing. But whatever, too big to fail, right?
Yeah.
This side jaunt was not in the movie at all.
I think that meant a little more in the 80s than it does today. Ex-pro wrestlers were real badasses in the 80s. Because around this time, say if you met Art and Ole Anderson in a bar and you called wrestling fake, There wouldn't be anything fake about your hospital bills.
Right.
How nice of them to buy a casket.
You made the little girl angry. These kids are crazy. All right. Booger says the Republicans will fall into three groups. One will go libertarian, but will never fully embrace them. Another will just be full establishment swamp. The third will be the cultists that want a Trump monarchy.
Those factions do exist. I don't know
They
what
do.
the proportion of
Yep.
each is. I have been
It's
saying
very-
this one for a... Go ahead, Germ. I'm sorry.
WWF was very big in his area growing up. There were always wrestlers around. Yeah, Connecticut is
That's
where
the
their
headquarters.
HQ is. Yeah,
Yeah, Norwich. I think it's Norwich. The thing is, they're big in they are so perfectly placed where they are because New York and Boston, two places where people will pay a few bucks for entertainment no matter what, are right there, and they flood the market with. And this is not anything untoward. It's actually smart. They realize that their money is in TV, right? Their money is in TV. The stadium is part of the spectacle, but it's for TV. So everything the wrestling people do serves their TV thing. And so you want to see wrestling live, it's like $5 to this day, maybe $15 to go to Madison Square Garden.
That's cool.
Because the sold out arena on TV sells the spectacle of the wrestling. You cannot pipe in or fake enough noise to get the same amount of electricity showing like 14,000 crazed wrestling fans on TV. Looks like the HQ's in Stamford, thank you.
yeah.
But they just moved into the old Swiss Bank building. They just moved to the old Swiss Bank building and built a ring right in the old trading floor. That's fucking great. Look, Vince McMahon is a master businessman, except in football.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody's
he's a good
nerfed.
carnival barker.
What's that?
Vince McMahon was a good carnival barker. He can sell basically anything to anybody.
He can sell anything, yes. And if his product is good, people will know about it and buy it. But if his product's bad, no matter how well he sells it, people are going to be like, it's bad, and they're going to walk away. The XFL would have succeeded if they had practiced longer before they tried to play. By the end of the XFL, they were not playing unacceptable football. But for most of the league's existence, they played unacceptable non-football. They sucked.
Yeah. The XFL, when it came back, it was good, and they are actually
pre-seasoned for longer.
the bulk of the USFL or the UFL now.
I guess I don't know a whole lot about what happened after they broke up. I do know that I went to like every home game of the New York, New Jersey Hitmen, and they sucked, and it was a terrible stadium experience. It was the worst. Oh my God! It was literally, and I'm not making this up. People say this as a joke. It was literally 2 degrees. 2 degrees in the swamps of the Meadowlands. At night, they only played at night for primetime ratings. During the day, it was 30 degrees. You could have gotten away with it. At night, 2 degrees above zero.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're not talking 32 degrees. We're talking 2 degrees. The freezing is 30.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
30 degrees below Fahrenheit freezing, like something like 8 below Celsius. It was effing cold in that stadium with the wind whipping through. It was horrible. It was the worst time I've ever had. And the football sucked.
Booger says
It
that
was odd.
he's officially been ousted from WWE leadership due to a scandal.
Yeah, due to old age as well. Yeah, he
He's
hasn't
like
been
84 or 5.
about 2 years.
He's really old. Non-linear for the XFL. I'm not sure I know what you mean. Oh, it's not the same league if that's what you mean. Someone bought the copyright.
Yeah, it was early like 2000. It was a league, and then it went away. Then 2019, it came back, and then the pandemic killed it.
And now the USFL is allegedly coming back.
USFL and XFL both came back,
Are they
and
going to
then they
merge?
united. Yeah, they've already
Okay.
merged to
They're
the
the
UFL.
UFL.
Yeah.
The thing that killed the XFL, and me and my friends used to go when we were kids. Like, it was cheap. It was a good day out. Like, your parents could take you. It was like going to a baseball game, but cheaper. It was like $3 tickets. I'm serious.
Wow.
Well, think about what the $3. Think about the family of four. Think about how much that $12 was in 1977, 78. Now parking is 30. The XFL was a good afternoon out on the par of arena football or even WNBA. USFL was a good day out on par with arena football or the WNBA. It was very affordable, and their mistake was trying to move to the winter time and play at the same time as the other league. That destroyed. They were gone in a few. They played out their last season with no money. I think games were missed. It was the Jersey Generals owner who refused to listen to the rest of the league and said he would pull his team from competition, therefore preventing them from having their scheduled season, forcing a lot of penalties to be paid for booking arenas that they then didn't play in, and then having to rebook and compete with the NFL during the winter and build their schedule around them. That Jersey Generals owner was the problem.
Yeah, and somehow they all turned a huge profit when they got bought out.
I don't know that the owners made money. They bought the contracts, right?
They bought out the league entirely. The owners all made at least $50 million a piece.
That was, well, I don't know. That's so long ago. It's hard
Most
to.
of
I
them
think
got,
it'd be $50 million in today's money, maybe.
yeah, most of them actually got deals to become part of ownership groups.
Aside from the New Jersey Generals owner, the rest of the league's goal was to be incorporated into the NFL. They wanted to become relevant and merge. It had been done before. Well, it had been done before. The AFL was an upstart league.
Right.
And the Steelers are from the original league. They're not an AFL team. They're from the NFC, or they're from the NFL. Some original teams had to switch leagues. And more recently, it happened in hockey. The WHL and the NHL were not the same league.
Yeah, that autocorrect's a bitch.
It's a bastard.
Yeah. I almost lost the girlfriend from autocorrect. Doug Flutie.
The shortest National Football League starting quarterback maybe of all time. The Doug Flutie, if he had been like 4 inches taller, he would have had so much of a more amazing career, not for any other reason except that he had to do an 11-step instead of 7-step drop to see the field. He was quick and he was good. And that play will be a college football Hall of Fame play forever.
My Chinese Fist of the South Star is better than your Japanese Fist of the North Star. That's how most women respond to me when I ask them out. Booger league mergers are how we ended up with multiple teams in the same cities.
Yeah. Ouch.
She's already picking up fighter levels just hanging out with Ken. Hey, let's blow up our little sister. They've got really good aim with those grenades.
Yeah.
Little sister, don't you? Little sister, don't you beat me with a pipe and say it's very nice and then you're gone.
If the Dodgers and Giants hadn't moved, New York City could have ended up with 4 baseball teams.
Woo! Could have had the.
They would not have started the Mets if the other two teams didn't lose. Or they didn't leave, rather.
The
Mets were a consolation team, yeah. Here's the thing. You have to expand in New York when the National League left because baseball starts in New York. The original name of baseball was the New York game. Like, let's go play some New York. It's like, Manhattan rules? Nope. I want to play Outer Borough rules. It's like, all right, Queens rules it is. Like, seriously. Washington's Army played baseball. The Pilgrims played baseball with the Indians. It wasn't formulated till the 19th century, but the oldest professional league of anything in the world is Major League Baseball. And they are not the first. They succeeded a league that failed. Cincinnati and the Pirates and the New York Giants come from a failed fucking league. They're from like 1871.
Nobody with real eye patch wears the strap.
Solo on the cheeks.
Yeah.
That's true.
By the way, there were at one time 4 baseball teams. The Brooklyn Bridegrooms and the Brooklyn Atlantics existed at the same time as the New York Giants, and there was like one other team. The New York Highlanders, which become the Yankees. I just heard the sound effect again.
Oh. Well, that was the ding of him catching the spear.
That's got to be what it was.
Yeah. Unless you're hearing the notification from Cosme when people come in.
No,
there are
I'm hearing
Cosme people in here.
It's like a bing bong. Like, sounds like a doorbell
we
chime.
have anonymous badger, anonymous giraffe, and anonymous rooster. Yeah. Oh, what I say when every time I see Roseanne Barr.
What's that? There's not enough beer in the world?
No, I'm just saying, he was saying, my eyes.
Yeah, you know, she must have been pretty funny to get any kind of fame because look how ugly she is.
Yes.
And man, this guy needs. I got a one word for our hero here: tweezers.
Yeah.
Those eyebrows.
Hey, Effect Search.
It's a post-apocalyptic world. He can't find tweezers. Howdy, Cody's Fact Search. I am doing okay. We're watching Fist of the North Star. Basically, we're watching a Bruce Lee analog blowing people up with his bare fists. And I find it very entertaining.
Oh, a guy inherited New York Titans season tickets that carried over to the Jets.
Oh, wow. Cool.
That's, I guess that was cool at one time. Now that's just torture.
No, the original name is the Titans. Their uniforms looked just like Notre Dame's, so they were blue. And the problem with it was that it's just a variant of the word giant. So it wasn't worth it.
Yeah. But now he has to watch the Jets. The poor son of a bitch.
Yes,
I know his
Anonymous
pain.
Rooster.
I know his pain.
We are watching Fist of the North Star, Anonymous Rooster. It is indeed anime.
Never would have guessed Roseanne would end up looking better than Madonna. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was.
I wouldn't have bet on it. I sure would not have bet on it.
Madonna really went
them both
after
being alive today.
Madonna went after herself pretty damn hard.
The giant claws of the man bat. This is another character that wasn't in the movie. So what I liked about the TV series, there's so many more really cool villains.
Yeah, they got a lot of good villains in this.
The best, well, maybe not the best, but some of the best of them make it into the movie. But and like I say, the movie is the movie is just different enough from the show that you can watch one and then watch the other and still have some surprises.
Okay, we got one last episode.
Yes. CODIS fact search. If you're in Cosme, you're seeing the world as it's going to be in about 20 years.
Depending on where you live, it's already like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Booger's also correct about
development program.
Booger's also correct about movies versus TV as far as like look at something like Logan's Run. They start like inventing some more lore because there's just not enough there. There's just not enough there. It's like we've got a city. We're already escaped the city. There's no reason to chase them, so they come up with a reason to chase them anyway. Yeah, and some stuff for them to find and do. But the movie is trash. I mean, the TV show's trash.
But it did have some cool ideas that were mostly taken into Star Trek. But anyway.
I think maybe they hired a couple of Star Trek people to help them.
I
think DC Fontana's a writer on that.
Exactly correct.
They tried. Yeah, they had a Data-like android.
Mm-hmm. Now, again, I'm not saying it was great. It's just there was possibility there, but it is what it is.
Booger just nailed another one there with the Alien Nation. He's right. It's a pretty good team. It was a really, really, really good movie. It was fun. This was not meant to be the start of a franchise or to be Star Wars serious, but it was a fun, plausible, real enough scenario. And they reused the scenario for what do you call it? District 9. District 9 has the same plot.
Yeah, exactly.
The same basic plot. And
unfortunately,
you know
District 9 is a piece of shit movie.
It is, but I would just say this as far as Alien Nation, the guy who played in the TV show, who played the human hero, he would make an excellent Vulcan, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he always looked like he'd look good with pointed ears.
Wouldn't it be great if he had played Ambassador Saval? Oh wait, he did. It is Ambassador Saval.
What?
Robert Wall's co-star from Hollywood Nights plays that role and is also Ambassador Saval in Star Trek Enterprise. Yeah, I liked District 9 too, honestly. I know that what Germ's saying about the story can be said to be true. It's not unenjoyable. It's not unenjoyable. There should have been a District 10. We should have finished our story.
They should have done a little bit better than putting it in South Africa and making the aliens all stupid.
I think it needed to be in South Africa for film credit, right? Okay, and also remember the filmmaker's not based in the U.S., so it was never going to be in like L.A. Peter Jackson doesn't work. The only reason we get good movies from him most of the time is because Peter Jackson doesn't live in Hollywood.
Hell, he doesn't even come to the States very often.
Fucking hates it here. He goes to England if he has to, and then he leaves quickly. He look. My hat's off to anyone who lives in the place that they love the most. He seems to be a very nationalistic and very happy Australian who's enthusiastic about his own nation. I love it. Good for him. He makes great movies because he's not in Hollywood. Lucky us. There's that sound effect again. But then he's also been like highly weird with his choices in the last couple of years. It hasn't been so great. Like, I don't know why Tintin exists.
Yeah, Tintin, great as a comic strip, but nothing else.
It was great as the original pre-World War II cartoon.
Right.
No, it really was. It was fun, but I had zero interest in, like, watching it again. Like, if they had revived anything else, like, if they had revived Popeye.
Yeah, Popeye would have been nice. But
He's just totally out there in unclaimed land. You could get him for a song.
Yeah, Tintin should have never translated past the newspaper comics.
Well, no, the 1930s serial cartoons for kids were fun. You got to see them. They're better than the Fleischer Superman. It's just, that's all there was to it. The fact that Steven Spielberg and Peter Jackson had the wrong conversation, why couldn't they have talked about Flash Gordon?
Oh, that would have been so cool. Or could have been so cool.
Look, I don't like Tintin as far as it's not interesting, but they replicated the original perfectly.
They did.
The main difference was that the aliens didn't look like us, and the criminal gangs were more open in Africa. Look, that movie was flawed. You know what would have helped it? Put in South African Charlize Theron as like a rival to Vickus, trying to calm down his like, SS quest there, where he was being like, the secret police. That's the only movie that, and it's got all the problems it has, but would you guys agree that's about the only movie that opens as the middle of a news magazine piece that doesn't suck totally? Like, it's not great, but usually when the movie opens, like, you drop into the middle of a TV news documentary, it's always the worst. Think about Thunderbolts.
Yeah, and it's not very good in that either.
It's just that that is the most convincing way they could have started that story. That movie doesn't, the first half hour is not the problem with that movie. It's everything else.
Yeah, it's once
I
you
like
get
the premise.
as you start turning into a prawn.
Yeah, it gets dumber and dumber, but the premise is great. The premise is actually great.
Yeah, it's a great idea, which the execution was
terribly failed. It's sad.
Terrible doesn't seem like strong enough word for it.
Because after the first half hour, it's hardcore stupid and hardcore boring.
Two combinations that don't work well together.
Thunderbolts was cursed from the beginning. I agree. The attempt to save it was far more annoying than the movie itself. Although it would have been worse. You can see if you have seen Thunderbolts, Booger, and I didn't go see it because I wanted to. My channel member sent me. You can see all the stranded plot elements in the middle of the movie there, where plots just stop and new plots just originate. In the middle of the movie, but it's not clean and there's no closure. It's like everything's snapped off, but not snapped off clean. Like it's got a ragged edge. You're like, huh? What? Huh? What? Huh? What? Wait, what? Huh? What? Okay, action scene. Wait, what? Huh? He gets stabbed in the heart and shakes it off, and the next day they're like, oh yeah, that stab-proof vest that you had really did the job. It's like, the thing was buried up to the hilt in his fucking chest.
Well, it's a very thick vest.
I guess so, and he's a pipe cleaner man, yeah.
Alien Nation, the flags were humanoid and extremely adaptive. It was all about the assimilation.
Yeah, that was the interesting part. You didn't get any of that with the prawns in District 9.
Well, the thing was, in District 9, they were supposed to be, like, uneducated even where they came from and unable to communicate even in the language that they knew. They had been removed from their home world. They didn't have any home world culture. They only knew bondage to the aliens who they overthrew. They took over that ship, and it drifts here. It drifts here. And we have just the the escaped captives. I thought that's what you meant. I had a funny feeling.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Because that's what they called them.
Very bad allegory for apartheid.
Alien Nation,
the guy who wrote
or
the novel is South African. District 9.
Yeah, District 9
written by a
is.
South African guy, and he had a political stance.
Well, I mean, I think we all agree segregation is wrong. We don't live in a segregated America.
Right.
We believe that everybody should have something in common by being proud to be an American.
Yeah, but he was written after the fact, and
It's fine with me. I
He
mean,
was
he's allowed to
extraordinarily,
reflect on it.
he took it extraordinarily personal, especially for being a white South Afrikaner who's
Oh, he was a vanilla man?
Yeah.
So he was just feeling guilty.
Yes, he was.
He was dating a black chick.
That guilt came rushing through.
I remember this one. I ain't gonna play Sunset 10. No, no, no. Started by what do you call it? Silvio from The Sopranos. That was Miami Steve from Bruce Springsteen's project. Then known as Little Steven. How wrong was apartheid that the guys from Kiss and the guys from Motley Crue and the guys from Black Sabbath all hung out together? Like, none of them like each other.
Right?
Black Sabbath guys are just like, I don't know what's up with all these other guys, but we invented their shit. Fuck them. And they're right.
It's kind of unfortunate what happened after apartheid, though.
I don't
They
know.
did not keep that shit together.
What what are you guys' take on the Trump and the head of South Africa? What happened recently? What do you guys think about that?
Don't have enough information, but Trump is just another guy from Queens. I understand why he does what he does, and I understand what he's talking about.
Well, I'm not from Queens, but and maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid, but I really like what he did myself.
This one I'm out of the loop.
Embarrassed him. He
Okay.
played a bunch of videos that the president kept denying that there was the white genocide and that they were stealing all the land from the white farmers and basically anyone else who stood against them. He played about a minute and a half worth of video, and
of course,
say shit.
the mainstream media is just all, Trump, none of this is substantiated, and he's wrong, and it's not true.
More people listen to Yellow Flash in an hour than CNN in a day. Did you see their ratings?
No, I didn't.
Did you see that? Did you see there is less than one baseball stadium worth of people in this world watching CNN.
Yeah, I have noted. The only reason I even bother with it is to honestly just to pick it apart anymore, which is probably not fair, but
be careful of all of them, because even though Fox is doing very well, the thing is Fox is doing as well as it's doing viewership wise, but that's because that's the one that's free.
Yeah.
You can get Fox News anywhere, anytime, on any device. They're broadcasting exactly what they're broadcasting on TV for free. They get by on their advertising. And the thing about that that's worrisome is their commodity is news, events, hysteria, and excitement. So they tend to be calling everything news. They tend to be always excited, and they tend to always be hysterical on Fox.
Yeah.
Whether they're right or wrong, the energy level's too high. Look at this. Booger agrees with the Queen's analogy. Too often, the president is a mere figure head in the presidency is a mere figurehead in diplomacy. His confronting another world leader was kind of refreshing. It is.
I
You can't do
agree.
it all the time, but it is. If you get the reputation as a plain speaker, the thing is, he's also opened the door to some very like embarrassing pictures from Vietnam or something like that, or from
Yeah.
Afghanistan where a missile missed, and we could see some children or something like that were we have to say this carefully, adversely affected by United States aggression, military aggression, justified military aggression, but aggression nonetheless. We
In
had
all
to defend
fairness,
ourselves.
That was the
It's their
that
fucking
was
fault.
Weekend at Bernie's who did that.
No, I'm talking like going all the way back to even George W. Bush. We were at war for 20 years. There's some very bad video. Let's face it.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there is always a risk
We
to such.
finally got
Exactly.
a guy not afraid to take the risk.
I'm not worried about that. I will say this. Can we check back in a year and see how people feel about the brinksmanship diplomacy? I do think that you can keep your foot in the floor for too long.
That's true.
It hasn't. I'm not saying we're there yet.
Right. But it is a possibility.
That said, he outperformed what the critics and cynics were saying about his first 100 days. And the other thing I'd say is I see a lot of people on Facebook saying with their name and address attached to what they're saying that they think he's a tyrant and they're afraid for their safety. Not so afraid that they're not posting on Facebook. So obviously
Yeah.
we're going to be okay is my feeling. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't see the future. I could end up being the wrongest guy in the world. God knows I've made mistakes.
Yeah, same here.
But I do stand by the regional republics within 20 years.
Well, I was gratified to be wrong because I was one of these people that really felt we were headed for civil war, and I was wrong.
I think it's a
and
legal
I'm glad.
civil war. A
Yeah, yeah,
legal
yeah.
war.
Yeah, I still believe that could still happen, and I don't know. I don't know where I stand on that at the moment because I'm trying to reevaluate so many things. There's so much I've learned in the
One thing
last year. But anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, the revelations of last week were truly shocking with the health of Biden. But I just on the other side of the coin, the one thing I would say if we had enough time to think of is we may have dozed enough for a little while. Maybe we only doge for a few months every 10 years, right? That Doge thing was like about to get out of hand when Elon's mandate ran out, and he just sort of they took their foot off the gas with that at the right time. I'll give them credit for
Yeah.
that. It was the right thing to do, and it stopped at the right time. As long as they don't start doging again right now, then we're fine. You can't do it all the time.
Midterm.
If they are
Take
still
more away
doging,
from after the midterm.
I'm gonna be honest. Oh, if you do it again after the midterm, maybe. If you doge until the midterm, you're talking blue
Yeah.
blue tsunami.
That's the trouble.
Oh no! The more you get rid of in the government, the more hopeless that the blue side feels.
But
see
they
it
still
every
vote,
day.
bro. They still vote.
And that's the trouble. I still have those friends that I talk about that even now, this is what baffles me. Even now, they're just believing all the mainstream media lies, and they're not even seeking out any different.
Because
You
people
know.
love comfort. People
Yeah.
love misery loves company, and people love comfort. I see the world as a will to power. This guy won that election. That's all there is to it. He's going to be president until he's not. We'll be okay. We survived it before.
Yep.
Does he have a style that shocks a lot of people? Not me, because I fucking lived with this kind of style my whole life. Everybody I
Right.
know acts and talks like that. I'm from Queens.
Well, it shocked me this first administration, but once I finally, because I'm a slow learner, once I finally figured out, oh, this is the way he does things, but the reasons he's doing it are not necessarily, they may not all be perfect or saintly, but they're not all necessarily nefarious things he's trying to do.
No,
So
no one's wrong
once-
all the time.
Exactly.
And I think Booger nailed it about Doge. It was fun, but it probably will amount to nothing. And this is why. As much
because
as we
a lot
liked
of it was legal.
yeah, and the other thing is
It's
everything
all
they
wasteful
alleged,
and horrible, but
but
it was all
they,
went about the right way.
well, yeah, legally it wasn't right. But here's the thing too. They didn't show us the back of the baseball card. Here's who did what. Here's what we clawed back.
Yeah,
There was no proof.
exactly.
And also the allegations demanded several dozen people be put on trial, and no one was.
And no one was.
And I'll say this. We'll get a trial. Oh, did she? Great. What part of Queens? It's a great place to live, by the way. And by the way, we will get justice for the people who, quote, stole all that money and find out who they are right after we get the Epstein list. In other words, never. Never. That's the one thing from day one of Trump that didn't turn out to be true, huh?
Yeah, and it pisses
That
me
was never
off,
gonna
but at
be
the same
true because it was
time,
already gone.
it's
Shouldn't have
just,
promised it.
it is what it is.
We should have been shown what happened. If we can, we should know why they can't tell us if they can't tell us.
Yeah.
Ridgewood, I know Ridgewood. I love Ridgewood. Ridgewood is a great part of Queens. Ridgewood Provisions, the best food in New York City. Ask your wife. The best sausages and cuts of meat. I love Glendale. Glendale is fantastic. I know Glendale. I love Floral Park. I love Elmont. I love Queens. Elmhurst. Glendale is beautiful. Down by Little Neck Parkway. Is that where they are? I know Glendale. I love, you know what? Everyone should be lucky enough to live where they love, to live in a place they love. My town's not for everybody. Everybody else's town isn't for everybody either. That's why you live there and we don't.
There you go. You know, I would make a crack about this.
Oh my
being
God, I know
point,
Carl
but-
Amer. I know Carl Amer meets. Yeah, Carl Amer had they were on Covert Avenue in Elmont by Sewanaka High School, where Vinny Testaverde went to high school. Carl Amer meets is a good place. Good food, man. Right? Yeah, I know. There's another one on Myrtle Avenue. Myrtle Avenue runs right through Middle Village, Maspeth, and Glendale. And here's the thing, Myrtle Avenue and that whole thing, that is the oldest continuously European settled part of America.
Wow.
That's the original Dutch colony. Yeah. Maspeth was like their capital. That graveyard, man, some of those tombstones, like 1662, 1675.
Wow.
They were the first mayor in New York was Dutch.
Yeah.
This is our third country. Remember that. We've switched before.
No, there's a seizure for you.
At least she left me some axes.
Oh, she went to the high school Peter Parker did.
Okay, I understand why he has the scars, but why are the dots connected?
I have no idea.
Blinded by the light.
My guess is sutures or a tribal war tattoo. Your wife went to Franklin K. Lane, which is where Peter Parker went in the MCU. The exterior might be Franklin K. Lane. The interior is the same interior from Fear the Walking Dead in the MCU Peter Parker one. The other times when they show it, what they do is they show a high school but they superimpose a different cityscape in the foreground. So the high school they show has an elevated train in front of it, but that elevated train is not in front of that high school. Sometimes they show Aviation High School, but I know people who went to I know a lot of people who went to Franklin K. Lane. It's the second best science school in New York City, behind Bronx Science.
All right. I had put up a poll on my stream of this, so I wanted to share with everyone. Would you travel a post-apocalyptic world to find a woman? Yes, no, depends on the woman, and maybe if I were a master of Hokuto Shinken. The winning answer is 57% of you say it depends on the woman. So,
Oh yeah, you're not going to travel the wastelands for 4.
I'm only going for a Cherry 2000.
You got it. All the
Gotta
other
find
answers
8-fingered
are
Jake, right?
tied.
Got a lot of toaster ovens.
Lane has been listed as one of the worst, least safe schools recently.
That is true. That is probably true, because my knowledge of Franklin K. Lane is this. 30 years ago, my friend divorced someone who worked there. And it was a good school then. And a bad marriage. A bad. And that teacher was probably a criminal too. Honestly, she's a fucking asshole, that woman. It used to be. Okay, yeah, so I'm accurate there. Yeah, I knew that times had changed. Also, think about this, a 100% staff turnover since the time I knew the people there, who were the good teachers. And 3 contracts ago.
T, can I ask you who the person in your is that like your father, grandfather, or who is that?
It's my father.
Nice.
He's in Vietnam.
Okay.
He died as a result of the wounds in combat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I got to know him. It was Agent Orange. He lived a few decades. It was a terrible way to go out, though. I might as well share that with people because a bunch of sick YouTubers celebrated his death.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what goes on around here. Welcome to Fun Town.
Yeah, maybe I should be grateful that YouTube has basically censored me, because I don't get as much of that crap as a lot of people do. I don't know if you know that YouTube will not monetize me. I've tried repeatedly. I finally gave up and started a new channel, and I'll just see if I've got one channel where I play nice, see if that one can make it, and on the other one I'm just going to say whatever the hell I want, because if they're not going to monetize me anyway, why am I censoring myself?
The neighborhoods that feed the school have shifted demographics a couple of times since then. Now, half of the school is people who want to go to that school, and like everyone else. Here's the thing. If you live in New York City and you're a kid, you can go to any New York City high school you want. Anyone. Yeah, so you have kids who go 90 minutes to go to like the best high school, or to go to a more ideal high school, or to go to a high school where like a parent's friend works, something like that. You have kids going all over the school. So yeah, the thing is, if the neighborhood gets fucking awful, people will stop sending their kids to that neighborhood. Doesn't matter what kind of school you have. Like, why should you send your kid to a good high school that gives them a New York City high school diploma with mediocre grades because it's a good high school, when all New York City high schools are known as bad, and somebody will give your kid straight A's at a failure factory and a diploma? There are so many failure factories in the New York City school system.
It pretty much is the New York City school system.
Fuck you, I can read, but I went to fucking Jamaica High School. It is distracting when LL Cool J's in the back of the class freestyling. You concentrate through that. The teacher was wrong about him not having enough fucking, about that, how he'll never get through life fucking making rhymes out loud, though. Jesus Christ, was I ever wrong? I'm serious.
Just shows how good at talent scouting New York City schools are.
Yeah.
Booger says the neighborhoods that feed into the school have shifted demographics a couple of times.
I think because it's Franklin K. Lade is not in the best, was never in the best neighborhood. And the thing is, the demographics in my neighborhood have shifted a bunch of times just in the time I've lived here. In Western Queens, there's one town where it's sort of entry level middle class. So those people are either going to make it into the middle class or fall back into the, whatever, the less financially gifted people, however you want to put it. But so there's just turnover anyway in my neighborhood. And it's like, so I'm comfortable here at the entry level of the middle class. Is it beautiful? It's the ugliest part of New York City, let me tell you. But I can see the Manhattan skyline from here, and that is beautiful, and that will beautiful up any sky. I don't know how people can live in New York City and not feel a sense of enthusiasm and a desire to make money and work. You see that Empire State Building and your blood starts pumping. You never get past it.
Sort of depressing being in a concrete jungle like that, though.
It depends what part. If you stood with me on the platform of the Queensboro Plaza subway station and looked at the Manhattan skyline and had the same view they had in Highlander, you would stand there for about 25 minutes before you had anything to even say. It really is a double-edged sword. There's a beauty to it, too. I'm not here to apologize for it either. I'm not the Board of Tourism. But yeah, what you say is right, but it is a beautiful city.
I would be on that view for about 25 seconds before I was contemplating jumping.
Yeah,
you would smell the great food coming from the street, and you'd be like, let's go get some food while I think over what I'm going to do. I can jump later or eat myself to death.
I've already tried that.
What happened? You had a huge meal and then jumped?
No, the eating yourself to death is a little bit harder than people think.
You've tried.
It takes a long, long time.
Germ is on record as saying that if they wanted to keep him in an area instead of a sonic barrier like in Thunderbolts, it would just take cake. I thought that was a good one. If you want to stop me, you just need cake.
Let them eat cake.
Yeah.
There is no food you can't find in New York City. Booger is correct. You want Afghani food? We got it. You want Chinese food? You got it. You want American food? It's all American food once you make it here.
I never understood why people would want Afghani food.
I've never tried it.
They make one or two good things. Falafel is good. Falafel's pretty good. And they make an Afghani gyro that if you get it made with chicken, it's good. You want to urge them away from putting lamb into every goddamn food.
Yeah. That's one of the big problems I've noticed with a lot of that area of the world. There is a whole lot of lamb.
They have no choice. Lamb live off of garbage. Yeah, see? Yep, it's odd that I should mention Afghani food. You've actually had it in Manhattan. Yeah. You can get it there, and you can get great food. I mean, you can get anything you want there. You can even get the French food where you have to cover your head in a freaking towel to eat it because it's so shameful.
I thought that was French women.
What was that?
I thought you had to do that for French women.
I know this. When I get a French woman between two of their national flags, things start to happen.
Oh, I see.
Not French, but I kiss that way.
Ooh.
Booger's kind of right. Middle Eastern and Mediterranean countries all have the same food. If you want to see it perfected, this is going to sound supremacist, but if you want to see it perfected, it's Italian food, honestly, because the Italians, they're like the major colonial power of that area for a long time. And the only thing uniting all of them was that the Romans came there. And by the way, every Italian's got some pan-Mediterranean DNA, and everybody from the Mediterranean's got a little bit of Italian DNA. Every single fucking Israeli's got some Italian DNA, unless, you move there from Russia.
Right.
Yeah.
I was dating
The Palestinians have Italian DNA. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was dating a Jordanian for about a year or so. The less I say,
An
the
air
better.
Jordanian or a ground Jordanian?
I'm not sure. She was a Coptic Christian from Jordan. Her family came over here after the war with Israel in the
We
70s.
have a lot of Coptics here.
Yeah.
We have a lot of everything, but we have a lot of Coptics.
It was interesting, but the reason I bring her up was she was an amazing cook. The one of the things that I miss, and there's several things that I miss about her, but she was too crazy. I could never go back to her, but her cooking was amazing, and she would make these Mediterranean meals. Oh my God, they were so good. They were just so good.
FYI, the Coptics, they're not their own religion. They're a subgroup of the Catholic Church, and they're allowed to have slightly different rituals and slightly different prayers and word things slightly different because they are the oldest single parish or oldest single sect of Christianity.
Yes.
Which is why they're different. You're talking like 75% Judaism in that.
Yeah, there's a lot of Judaic influence in there. I went
They
to
were the
a
first
few of
ever
their-
Christian community, the
yeah,
very first.
yeah.
The Catholics were not about to say no. You're They're like, all right. They're like, we'll listen to the Pope, but we're not changing how we pray. And they're like, good enough. You're gonna give us some money. We are based in Sicily. Are you gonna give us some money? All right, fine.
Yeah. No, it was a fascinating experience. I really, I mean, I loved her so much, but yeah, she just got too angry too often, and she threw me out of the house a couple of times. And she's the only woman I ever have gone back to after it was over.
Oh,
And
I
I've-
redated all of my girlfriends. I had one girlfriend on and off for like 15 years. So it was like 6 weeks on, 10 weeks off, 25
I'm
weeks
so
on,
sorry.
2 weeks off. Hell no, we had makeup sex all the time. It was the best relationship I ever had.
Well, Booger, I'm not 100% sure.
She could call me tomorrow.
I know that the Coptics do have their own quote unquote pope.
They do
But
have their own
there's-
guy. He's called the Patriarch, though.
Yeah. And
No, that guy is just a super bishop. I mean, you're right. They have theoretical autonomy. They do. They have theoretical autonomy. They have an ongoing agreement to continue listening to the Pope. They could just say fuck that at any time they want. And there are a few Catholic things that they do not bother with in the least.
yeah. There are some differences. They may seem subtle to most people, but it was fascinating. I would have, again, if she'd have not went crazy, I would have been happy with her.
If you don't want crazy,
That
you have
is
to
the
become
problem.
gay.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
your
you got to
only
become
option.
gay. By the way, this is the AI answer from Google. I'm not trying to show anyone up here. This is just the best answer I got. Ready? Yes, there is a branch of the Coptic Christians called the Coptic Catholic Church, which is in full communion with the Catholic Church and the Pope in Rome. The Coptic Catholic Church is an Eastern Catholic Church that uses the Coptic Rite and Coptic religions. There's also Coptics on their own. Those guys are Protestants, the other Coptics.
Yeah.
You can tell one from the other.
Protestant.
Go ahead.
I think they're too Protestant.
Then they're Protestant by no. The other Coptics, the ones who would not agree to be part of Rome, become Protestant when they won't join with Rome. They are OG Protestants from day one, but they started out as part of us, Catholics.
I thought they diverged at the same time when they were forming.
Here's the deal. The first Christian community is along the banks of the Jordan and in the area of the 40 miles that Christ wandered, right? It spreads to Rome, and the Roman faction gets bigger because there's just a lot more fucking people in Rome. And the number one progenitor and proselytizer is a Roman guy. So he's going around talking to everybody in Latin. So they're like, it's picking up pretty fast, because life is miserable. The idea that the next life will be better. People just want this life to, be finished, a lot of them. So,
Yeah.
like, what happens is the original Christian community, the Pope the papal Christian community, let's call it that, the Italian Christian community, they both have, there's no Protestants yet, right? They're just kind of nominally all on the same page, just no one sat down and said we're not. Then Martin Luther starts what he starts. Everything starts moving in a certain direction, and basically the pontificate splits in three. By the way, we don't know which pope is which, except the one who won was ascended from the original line. So the two jump out popes, we probably took their best ideas. One was in Avignon, and the other one was in Avignon, France, and one was in Rome, and one, I believe, was in Sicily. So when the Catholic Church gets done with the Counter-Reformation and reforms into one church, then they're like, who's jumping out as Catholics and who wants to be our enemies? And like the Coptics, half of them were like, we're down, and the other half were like, fuck that. That's the bottom line. They're both called Coptics. They're not the same. They're not the same religion, but it's probably closer than they are to. They're probably closer to each other than they are to the Catholics. But the one branch is totally considered Catholic. They're just allowed to do their own thing. There's enough of them, and they've been around long enough, which I think is fair.
And they're both closer to Jews than anything else Christian. From the Coptics I know, literally the only difference I've seen between them and Jews is the Christ part.
Hey, Sci-Fi Sith Dan, welcome.
Are their women hot, and do their women get boob
Dan.
jobs and nose jobs to be hotter?
Well, I thought she was pretty. I guess you'd have to define hot, but she didn't. No one in her family got any nose jobs or.
Jewish women are hot. Jewish women get plastic surgery to get hotter. Jewish women dress and get the best, hottest clothes they can. I grew up in New York, where 70% of all America's Jews live. I have had people say, you look like you have a little Jew in you, which couldn't be further from the truth, but there's been a little bit of me and plenty of Jews. Let me tell you, those are some beautiful women. I have the most common lie I've told in my life is why, yes, I am part Jewish to somebody's father, so they wouldn't be mad.
Yeah.
The attitude changes right away when you're not a fucking shiksa.
Yeah.
When you're not a Gentile. No. I'm a Landsman on my mother's side.
I am almost, I've never done a genetic test. And it's not because of, please don't think it is anti-Semitism, but as far as I can tell,
I'm going to choose to think of it as that.
No, yeah, exactly. I've got no Jewish in me, but it wouldn't bother me. It would just be another thing.
If you were to be Polish or you were to be German, you would have fractional small amounts. I don't think there's one German who doesn't have an ounce of it in him.
Then in that case, probably so, because I'm about a quarter German. About a quarter. So
here's the thing. It might be so far back and so little that is undetectable now, but I am the 900 times more Native American than Elizabeth Warren. I did the math.
I'll believe that.
Well, I'm 5% and she's 0.5%.
Oh, she's that much? Wow. Okay, I almost take back.
But here's the thing. She's within the margin of error of not being it at all by a lot. The margin of error is like 1.5%. She's 0.5%. So this is what that means, though, in the life of Elizabeth Warren. Somebody from the fucking Plymouth Bay colony married an Indian.
Yeah.
Only way it happens.
Yeah.
Only way it happens. Someone from the Plymouth Bay colony marries a guardian. We call them guardians, Curtis.
Oh, I did not know that.
Well, what was the Cleveland baseball team called? Formerly, they were called the Indians.
Oh, yes. Okay, got you. Sorry.
Now they're called the Guardians. The problem is when we were doing 1923, when we were talking about when the Guardians would do something bad, it was hard to say, those terrible Guardians by using their real name. But when we came up with calling them Guardians, Germ, was that freedom or what?
Yeah, that works pretty well.
Now, Booger is talking about a sect of Catholicism I'm not familiar with. He says...
Googling them now. It says the Melkites are Byzantine Catholic Christians of Middle East origin, specifically descendants of the early Christian community in Antioch, which is Syria. Yeah, they're like, there's an overlap there with them and the Coptics. They're in full communion with the Roman Catholic Church and follow the Byzantine rite, which includes elements like the use of icons, communion with both bread and wine, and the kiss of peace. We no longer kiss in the Catholic Church. We give each other thumbs up. I'm not kidding. I give people a stock.
That stuff with the priests back in the 80s and 90s, he had to make some changes.
That wasn't from the priest. The kiss of peace was a handshake or a hug between the communal members of the church to show that they were one and that they would help each other no matter what.
But the priest kind of gave any type of show like that a bad name. Believe
it or not, it wasn't that. It was going on all the way up until COVID. It's over now. It's only been gone for 2 years. I want them to bring it back. I miss shaking the hand of my fellow man or woman in church and telling them that I wish them peace. Flashing the two finger, the victory sign to everybody like everyone does. It's not the same. We are one people.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Like when the Land O'Lakes took the Guardian off the package but kept the land. Yeah, and here's the problem. The problem, quote unquote, was their Guardian was like a blonde-haired white lady. It wasn't close. The Blue Bonnet Butter girl, the Land O'Lakes Guardian girl, and the St. Pauli girl looked almost exactly the same at one point. They did make concessions to reality over the last, I'm saying it took 40 years, concessions to reality by Land O'Lakes till they finally gave up on the Guardian. They tried. Germ, you remember the blonde, blue-eyed Land O'Lakes butter Indian girl?
Vaguely.
Yeah, it is like 40. You were a child.
Yeah. I think it's just supposed to be a sketch that they didn't actually color in.
For a while, she was just etched lines, yes, like a woodcut. They tried everything to save that logo. Because the thing is, don't back off your brand. I am not Roman Catholic, says Booger, but most of the parishes I have been to have returned to the physical sign of peace. I would like if we did that here in Queens. But here's the thing. The neighbor in my neighborhood was at the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak, and 55,000 New Yorkers died in 3 months.
So I'm just a dumbass from Oklahoma. So I've got a question, and I'm not meaning this to be a setup. I honestly want to know.
I like you. You can ask me anything.
Thank you. So there's a lot of debate in Oklahoma about different things with the COOF. Were there actually bodies stacked up in trains, or is that a lie of the media?
Hard to say, because what happened was about 4 months into it, a whole bunch of crematoriums, people went insane and said they were going to close down their crematoriums and stop. The thing was, they were cremating and having services as fast as they could. But again, as many people as died in the 10 years of the most active part of the Vietnam War, which was nationwide soldiers, right? Soldiers from every part of America, the Aleutian Islands, everywhere, died in just the New York City area in 3 months.
Okay.
So we are talking the greatest of sorrow was visited upon the city. And for months on end, when you walk silently down the streets, there was no sounds of life. The life was sucked out of the city. The sounds of sorrow were everywhere. There was no defiance. The people were beaten, broken, hoping for the COOF to go away. And what happened was a bunch of people who ran the crematorium said, we cannot keep up. We need help. And yes, there are not train cars, but like refrigerated trucks.
Okay.
With 5 or 6 days worth of people stacked onto them that we're not going to get to for a week. There can't be any normal funerals, and everybody has to be cremated. And my uncle died during that, and that was the most terrible wake where we couldn't hold or touch anyone, and it felt so terrible for his family.
That's terrible.
But it did happen. But it didn't happen because like it was ghoulish. It happened because we were trying very hard to do the right thing as fast as possible. And like a bunch of crematorium runners came out and said, I'm just a human being. Do you have any idea what I've seen and been through and the stress and the horror and the crying? And like I was prepared for this, but not on a military level for months on end. I've just gone crazy. You can't make me go to work. And that's how that happened.
I got
And
you.
they were only human. All our hearts broke for them.
Yeah.
This was the most terrible thing to ever happen to my city. The
In your
most
lifetime.
the most visually terrible was 9/11. I've seen a couple of
Yeah.
terrible things.
Yeah.
That explosion in the sky, the screaming, the sirens, the months of funerals. Again, another time where the streets were filled with the sounds of sorrow. But the difference between 9/11 was that there was also the sounds of defiance, the sounds of anger, the flag of my nation fluttering proudly in the breeze with no appellation. I have no problem with your red and back to blue flags. Go ahead and use them, but I do love our original flag the best. It is a beautiful flag. It is the flag that my father fought for and my dad wore over his badge as a New York City police officer. I love the United States of America's flag, and when I would walk down the streets in those dark days after 9/11, people were sad. The smell of death hung in the air. The funeral bells rang nonstop. There were funerals starting at 10 p.m. There were so many people dead, and the sorrow was palpable. There was the greatest sorrow you've ever seen, but here and there, people singing "God Bless America," people chanting, we will be back," people chanting "USA, USA," and everywhere you look, the flag of the United States. We had a shit president, but we had the spirit of a fucking of tigers.
Yes.
And they didn't beat us, and they got better than they deserved, but they're all gone now. Fuck them, and fuck George Bush for not using nuclear weapons on our fucking attackers.
I because I'm on YouTube, I have to be careful what I say, but let's just say I don't think Afghanistan should have ever recovered. Ever.
The area that the attack came from was so underpopulated that if we had simply nuked it, he couldn't have escaped. He would have died, and there would have been no need for a war with less casualties of innocents than happened at the Pentagon, let alone the World Trade Center. You're talking about a population density of 1 per every 4 or 5 square miles.
Yeah. I mean, heck, Oklahoma's more populated, and we have nobody. So,
and you've suffered a terrible attack as well in 1993 that broke everyone's heart.
We did.
That was the most heartbreaking thing I'd seen until 9/11. I'll
Until
never get those
9/11.
images out of my eyes.
Yeah.
40 children under the age of 10. Timothy McVeigh was the most evil human being to ever live. You can only be tied.
bad.
You can only be tied.
By Bin Laden, you think, or who? Or do you have another person in mind?
Hitler, even. I'll just say this.
that's
Now you can see why the Star Trek Enterprise Watch Party is not doing the Xindi arc. I'm getting a little animated and need to calm down.
I get it.
It also
It was very hard to live
kind of
with.
sucks.
Yes, and also, does everyone understand that a New York-based Star Trek host should not be forced to relive 9/11 for 26 weeks? It's too much. I already lived the 26 weeks after it. It was very painful.
Yep.
I'm not reasonable, and you just heard the rant that came from just touching on it. Imagine a day's prep, a day's writing, and another watch party. Oh, I hate thinking about it. It was the worst day of my life. After Japan, we have lost the gumption to use the most powerful weapon we've created. This is both a good and bad thing. I agree. Hey, listen, we would have looked terrible for a couple of years afterwards, but the justification was there was less people there. And there's a thing called leaflets. If we had leafleted them for a month before or a week before we did it, people could have left, and we could have put drones up, and anybody fucked up leaving, we could have stopped them at the edge and searched them, and we would have caught them.
Yep.
So you can't tell me that we shouldn't have done it. We should have absolutely done it, and George Bush is going to have to answer for this in the next life.
Yeah.
That said, I came to not mind him personally, but that was a terrible decision. I don't mind him, actually. He's kind of okay, but he was an asshole president.
Sadly, most of our country has forgotten 9/11, Seth, and I agree with Booger. Most of them have.
We
Surprisingly,
here in New
there's
York,
a great deal of this country that wasn't alive at the time.
that's not surprising. That's average. You know what bothers me about it is the people who know so little about it that last couple of years I've heard this one. You ready?
Yes.
Happy 9/11.
Oh my God.
I saw somebody almost get fired from their job for reacting to that. Like, the fuck did you say to me? And they were just like, someone had to grab the guy. He was like, you know, I'll fucking kill you. And the guy's like, what? I'm sorry. And it's like, you fucking scumbag 20-year-old piece of shit. Fucking say that to me. It's like, you know, like he wouldn't have gotten fired except for the fact his fucking brother died.
That's like my grandparents, and really until recently, even my dad, they never really forgot or got over December 7th.
I would say this Happy Memorial Day is normalized.
Yes.
And I don't think it's unfortunate. I think Veterans Day is the one that's far more solemn. In Memorial, like they wouldn't want, I mean, this is me. It is awkward. I agree it's awkward. It was a lot more awkward in 1951, you know what I mean, after World War II.
Right.
But Happy Memorial Day. And by the way, it was called Decoration Day until 1996, when President Clinton officially changed the name to Memorial Day. It was the commemoration of the first ever awarding of Purple Hearts for wounds.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, the Purple Heart was the only thing we had that every soldier got it for service. It was also our Good Conduct Medal and our Congressional Medal of Honor. The day we set aside to decorate the grave of the war dead will never be a happy day. No, you're right. It's a very solemn day, but there can be solemn joy. I agree with you. It does
help that literally everyone has a barbecue.
Here's the other thing, right? Honestly, these guys died so that we could celebrate our freedom. So the happiness is the celebration of our freedom, the celebration of our First Amendment right to freedom of speech, the celebration of our Second Amendment right, the celebration of your ability to sit on a blanket that looks like an American flag because you have no couth, and use napkins that look like American flags if you have no couth. Don't do that. That's much more disrespectful than Happy Memorial Day. And what else? It's kind of rolls off the tongue. I agree with everything Booger says. I just like, you know, the last one, I'm not going to go to the mat over that one. That's all I'm saying about that. No, I mean, I get why I get why people say it. You know, it's not going to, you know, like, I understand both sides on that one. I'm agnostic. I do say Happy Memorial Day. People have mixed up and merged Veterans Day and Memorial Day, but have totally forgotten Armed Services Day. Now that I agree on. Booger, I agree. And by the way, if you want to, you know, if you dig this kind of stuff and these kind of discussions, and you dig military history and stuff like that, I've got a channel for you. I don't know if you've heard of this guy called Admiral Teague. He's pretty cool.
He is pretty cool.
He's pretty cool. He sometimes is on here, but military history is part of what he does. He is a pretty good, I don't know, Germ. Admiral Teague, a passable YouTuber? Passable, right?
Yeah, passable YouTuber.
Not the best guy, but we don't like Admiral Teague. I have to wake up and look at him every day. It's easier for you to say. Admiral Teague does Star Trek military history, 1923 history outright, and other stuff. And that's his link right there. If you want to join my channel, Admiral Teague is up and running and looking for more people. The crew, the fleet. We are looking for great sci-fi adventures. And tonight we're doing a mediocre episode of Enterprise. It's too bad it's so mediocre.
Yeah.
It's a good story. It's bad Star Trek. Was that about right, Germ?
Yeah, it's okay story. Doesn't really fit for Star Trek. Unfortunately, the next, at least, I think the rest of this season and season 3, there isn't really a high point for Enterprise.
I've only seen a few episodes of Enterprise.
The high point yeah, if you don't watch them in order, they're much better. Here's the thing. The best episode of Enterprise might be Broken Bow. Which is the first one. That's the problem. It never gets better. It never gets better than its pilot.
That's not
the
good.
Pilots, but the pilot's great, but the thing is the drop-off is pretty big. It's a good show, though. It's degenerated. It's degenerated to just being stories in a Star Trek aesthetic, but they're respectful of the old lore and the stories. They're okay. But as Sean put it, and I think Germ agreed, it's not very sci-fi anymore. It's not, and it's not very. While it's not bad Star Trek, it's not Star Trek-y at all. Germ, what do you think of that one?
Yeah, that's pretty true. It gets back on course in season 4, but the end of season 2 and especially season 3, it's not worth the time.
Booger, I don't think they were trying to deconstruct it. They were taking a respectful approach, but it was just like when you're monkeying around with that, nothing good's going to happen. That's the way I'll put it. And
they're trying
go ahead.
They're trying to fill in some of the plot holes that had been created over time.
Smooth over differences in verbiage from the cage and stuff. But yeah, they took on a lot. Their heart was in the right place. It was a doomed idea. And by the way, I'll do this one from 133 for Booger. Being from New England and with parents from Massachusetts, I can't avoid American revolutionary and military history. As we set sail, we ask God's blessing. You know what? Here in New York, a lot, but New York was occupied for most of the revolution. So we have spies. There's some great monuments to Washington spies out in Northport and further out, Center Reach, Long Island, past what's now called Port Jefferson. It wasn't called that before Thomas Jefferson got famous, right? It was called Smithtown. It was called Smithtown. And it was all called Smithtown. It was also all called Oyster Bay. So it's the North Shore of Long Island, on North Country Road in Cold Spring Harbor, Long Island, I think it is. You'll find the grave of Abraham Woodhull from the show Turned. And Washington's spies were all here. STD just jettisoned any molecule of respect. Yeah, it was batshit crazy stuff by people who didn't want to do Star Trek, and there was accusations that they were trying to get fired and bought out. The accusation was that they built into their contract 5 years' pay if they didn't get picked up. So the accusation was that they tried on purpose to make the worst non-Star Trek they could so that they would be fired and get 6 years' pay for one and move on to a new project and get 8 years' pay in 1 year. So it was a grift.
Wow.
Now remember, all Hollywood stuff goes behind closed doors because they do it says in all Hollywood contracts, I agree to arbitration, not court. There's a small monument in Norwalk, Connecticut to where Nathaniel Hale left on his voyage to New York City. Nathaniel Hale was the school teacher. I regret that I have but one life to give for my country. What an inspiring story. Also in Port Jefferson, New York, I have been to and smoked a joint at it's a new dock, right? But the cove, the sheltered inlet where Benedict Arnold put out to meet the British to start making the deal. Part 2 of the deal goes down up by Bear Mountain in West Point. Sorry, John?
We are going to have to start wrapping it up here.
Great conversation, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I always have a great time here. I'm sorry I only have every other Saturday off, but I would love to be here as much as you.
We miss you.
I miss you guys too, and I try to support so many different communities, and it's good in some ways, but it's bad in that sometimes I'll spend a week or two missing, an entire branch of what I consider.
There's only so many hours in a day. All I ask for members of my community, every once in a while, turn on my video, let it play for a half hour or so at the browser open, give me the view, give me the like. That's all I ask. That'll keep me alive and relevant. I'll be able to make my way if you guys do that. And I thank my community, and I thank Germ's community, a lot of whom are also my community, for being here to support my friend Resolute, Germ, and his pal Curtis, who bring us great animation every week. In a year and a half, is it 2 years now, Germ, that I've been doing this show with you? Most weekends. How long is it?
About a year and a half, I believe.
Yeah, you know how much I have learned from this man about animation techniques, the animation effect on pop culture. I am now a much more well-rounded and better pop culture critic than I was when I started. My friend has taught me a lot of stuff and takes time off the air to help me understand it. He is a great guy, and hopefully today we get him for Star Trek Enterprise. We don't always know, but when he's there, it is even better. He is one of the best Star Trek minds and Star Trek guys. The Admiral Teague link is, I can put Germ. Can I put it in the private chat and you put it in the main chat so it'll show? Curtis has to put it in his chat because it's in Germs. There it is in the private chat. If the two hosts could paste it in, it will show up as a link. If you join my channel, I promise to try very hard to entertain you tonight at 10 minutes to 10 Eastern. We have a Star Trek Enterprise watch party. Like I said, the episode is what it is. We're trying to honor the show Enterprise. We gave it everything we had. Season 1's really good story-wise. It's falling apart now. We see why it didn't make it. We're going to do 30 more episodes and move to the original series. No one else has ever spent this kind of time on Enterprise first. And I want to say I am proud as could be. No military officer ever more proud of having people like Germ, Sean, and JT help me provide what I think is the most entertaining and one of the top informative Star Trek watch parties and the #1 appreciation stream for Star Trek ever. Thank you, Germ.
That's amazing.
He's an amazing guy. He's got his mouth full of cake.
There is the link for you, Booger, and working till 11. The show starts around 10 o'clock your time, so that should work.
Hopefully
just fine.
You'll be okay. Yeah, it's 10 minutes to 10. We set up the show for 30 minutes, then we watch the episode, and then 40 to 44 minutes after that, we start the review and analysis. And then after we do that, we freestyle pop culture for as long as we feel like. The shortest show was 2 hours, the longest was 4. We do what the audience demands and requires.
Yep.
What's next week's cartoon, Germ? And Wednesday, I heard Nerd Night's coming back.
Yeah, Nerd Night will be back this Wednesday. So if you enjoy freeform talk, any topic,
or a display of complete ignorance and insanity by me. Germ, please tell people how ignorant and insane my political views are.
They can get out there, but living where I live, it's nothing I haven't seen before.
Tell them the expression that you always use for the level of insanity.
Worst
impulses of.
Worst impulses of both Alec. Not for some reason I want to say Alex Jones.
Him too.
Alex Jones.
There's a little in there too.
I used to listen to Alex Jones years ago. I was in a very dark place.
I would give him a sci-fi literature contract and say, write a book. I bet you could do a great job. But
yeah.
The expression is the worst instincts of Alec Baldwin and Donald Trump mixed together into one human being with a really, really bad X-posting problem. But if you've noticed, what am I, Germ, 7 posts in 4 days now?
Yeah, you've really cut down.
You know what? I think what happened was we've seen that I can rev it up. I took a lot of incoming from someone for 2 years, and then for 8 weeks, I went full bore, full Queens, full Trump on them. And in 8 weeks, they collapsed and destroyed themselves. And now I guess it's over, and I can go back to not tweeting. Like I like to not tweet. I much more prefer to show you guys what a great New York sandwich looks like rather than bitch about some guy who's an idiot.
Yeah. Curtis, what you got coming up?
Well, I because of work and because of YouTube, I've backed off some. I actually put my new channel in the chat because I've gotten to where I'm not really promoting this one so much until I either get YouTube to understand or figure out what the heck their problem with me is. But I do something called the Voice of Northern Oklahoma on Sundays. Likely will be doing that on my new channel. And what that is, it's just it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek combination of actual news and just kind of trying to be an entertaining buffoon. And then I used to every Tuesday and Thursday do a live stream that would just talk about a political or economic or some kind of socially what I hoped was a relevant topic. Work has been just kicking my butt, so those have not been happening. But I'm trying to get back to doing those more regularly. And then I try to be on somebody's panel sometime during the weekend. So I know that's all vague. I used to have a program, but after YouTube refused to monetize me, I just I got discouraged, frankly. And
I encourage you to start a new show called Waiting for the Asteroid.
Ooh, and what? Okay, waiting for the
Extinction level event. Yeah, just waiting for the asteroid with a picture of the dinosaurs just looking at a vapor trail in the sky. Oh fuck!
I will take that into consideration. I have started a new thing that I do on this channel because I don't want to completely abandon it. I'm calling it the Donkey Panda. And what that is, I one of my old left-leaning friends got upset with me and said that they enjoyed my channel more when I wasn't pandering to the Republicans. And I got a little upset with that. So Donkey Panda is where I pander to the Democrats. So
if I listen to your show, I'll be promised free stuff and all the other good stuff.
Oh, no.
If I play the Latino card, you'll fire someone for me to get a job.
I don't have anybody.
By the way, Curtis,
fire.
I'm sorry. I'm Latino. I'm sorry.
Oh
sorry.
my God! I can't talk to you anymore. I'm a white Oklahoma. No.
I'm white. I'm white. Germ, please tell me I'm white. I'm white. I'm a white guy.
I'm just
yeah, sure. He's white. He's Latino. He's
there are so many incredible Latinos in this community.
It's verifiable.
It's really heartwarming because in Oklahoma we've got these terrible stereotypes of everybody, basically, and but I've quote unquote met so many truly wonderful Latinos in this community. It really is. It renews my faith in humanity to know that.
I love what Booger just said, by the way. Look, being Latinx means never having to say you're sorry. Yeah. but here's the thing. The only two people who are Latinx are Rachel Ziegler and Pedro Pascal. I'm fucking Hispanic, okay? I'm goddamn Hispanic.
Booger, what did you think of the Donkey Panda episode? Because that was the inaugural. That was the beginning. I'm still kind of fleshing out.
Like this, Booger.
I'm missing something. What am I missing?
Hey,
there you are. Okay.
I'm proving that I'm both white and Latino.
And Latino.
You know who is this white? Desi Arnaz.
Oh yeah.
He just had a deep tan. Here's the thing. Under the Spanish, the Cubans were istophobic and weren't allowed to intermarry or nothing. Then when the Cuban Revolution happened, they got rid of that and they had racial equality across all levels, right? And then that's why Cuba doesn't become a state. We enact the Platt Amendment, we collapse their government, we take it over as a protectorate, and their president figured he would just be the governor of the state of Cuba, and they're like, yeah, we've been thinking it over. The way you let people walk around, misogynistally, it's a bad example for the next most northern state. Which one is that? That would be bigoted Florida.
Yeah, right.
It's like, well, maybe the state north of that is less bigoted. Who's north of them? And they're like, it's Georgia. Where you're out of luck. Listen, you can't be a state. You're going to be a protectorate. They had what do you call it? Integration in 1900. So yeah, no, they couldn't join the United States until, and then by the time we had full integration, they were a commie country. We could have had that as a state and all their resources and an unsinkable aircraft carrier in the Caribbean.
Oh, Booger, say hi to Charlotte.
I hope you have opted to join my channel. I need captains in my fleet. We are a fighting fleet that fights for better Star Trek. and better stories, and sometimes does the MCU. I am one person short to getting back to respectability. Did you join? Did you join?
I am sub.
Thank
to
you.
I would join.
I thank
you,
everyone
but
who
I'm having
did.
some financial difficulties.
Oh no, not. Don't worry about my community. When you can, if you feel like it. I am not one of those
love
people.
to. I just I right now I backed down to just I'm only joined on 3 people's channels. But
don't be a
get more
member.
money-
Just you don't have to join. Just be a
but
sub.
I am subbed. I am.
Oh,
subbed.
that's enough. Watch once in a while, and that helps me out. The watch hour is just anything, even to help my prestige. Germ, I'm going to ask Germ a question. Germ, how many times have I said to people on my channel, please give me money? Give me money now. You can give me money.
Almost never.
Well, you see, that's
Actually,
what I
it
do.
is. I'm going to say it is never, isn't it? I say you can. Is saying you can join my community really, right? The most I ever say is you can join my community. Does that happen every show?
You never.
Not
You
every.
should
show.
actually get to the point of pushing stuff like that more.
I am anything but a give me money YouTuber. I get by on the generosity of a loving community that just likes what I do and doesn't have to be asked and gives what they feel comfortable with. I try not to ask. If Cuba is unsinkable, why is Guam going to flip over? Well, Cuba's unsinkable because American ingenuity in the Guantanamo Bay province has made it, we counter-floated it from the other side, and that's why it's unsinkable. Guam is going to flip over because the Americans have had their hands tied there by the ungrateful Guamis. How's that sound? I have never spent money on YouTube. You, sir, are a king of the ad blocker. You know what? That happened to me, too. I was so badly unemployed that I had to get a job as a YouTuber on top of my other job. I was underemployed. Only way to put
I
it.
hate that.
Yeah, that sucks.
You know what? Honestly, the community, you guys are so generous and so wonderful to me that you pay my cell phone bill and keep me off the street. By the way, Jerb, did you check your
good.
little tip jar this morning?
Yes, I did. Thank you for that.
You're welcome, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all you do for me. It's not enough. It's not. It's just as much as I can give you right now. It's not enough. It's not as much as you deserve. But get 2 Coca-Colas and a fucking Clark bar on me.
There you go.
With the
This
new
guy-
taxes here, this might cover the Clark bar.
I just want to say that this guy, Resolute Germ, deserves your loyalty and your subscription and your view time, not just because he gives you great stuff for free, but honestly, when everyone, and I mean everyone, was calling for Admiral Teague's head on a pike, he had my back the whole time. He's always been very, very cool and loyal to me. And in that time, it has not been unconditional. I have been a right asshole a few times during this. And, Jerem, would it take you 3 to 5 minutes to inform me to stop being an asshole? I can trust this guy. He's my friend. But he's like, stop being an asshole. I'm like, I better stop. Same thing with Sean and JT.
Yeah, we've had to talk you down from a few ledges.
But when has it failed?
Yeah, eventually you do listen.
Within an hour.
Yeah.
Better late than never. Better within
when
an
my-
hour than
What,
never.
no, honestly, here's what happens. My guys talk me down, I stop, and it takes about an hour for the ricocheting to end. It ends as no. Listen, fuck with me, and you will find a new definition of pain and suffering as you are slowly digested by a fucking nickname you can't shake over the course of 1,000 years. But when my friends tell me to stop, I stop. The thing is, I am so powerful at using the X that it will rattle around sometimes for days. Gorilla was like on all fours in a foxhole for days, and I never even took aim at him. I went after his panel was wrong, and he owned it. I recommend Gorilla. He's a great guy.
I love gorillas.
We're on here every week. He's great.
Yeah.
And he'll be back to do Star Trek with me if he's ever free on a Saturday.
I do remember, I think, some of the things that you're discussing right now, and but eventually y'all worked it out, and I love that. That's really cool.
When I went crazy about what happened on his show, I said every time that I didn't think it was his fault in every tweet.
Yeah.
I said he was taken advantage of. I said that he was overwhelmed by EV Mux. Anybody want to argue that EV Mux is horrible for a fucking stream, Germ? You want to endorse
Oh,
him?
EV Mux shouldn't exist.
Wow. See, I'm still using StreamYard, but that's, I mean, I still don't know really what the best thing to use is, but it has
It's
done
StreamYards.
what
It's
I've
StreamYards, but
yet to
StreamYards
do.
is 500 and change a year.
Yeah, they have gone up, and I looked out.
This
I
is
hadn't
why.
yet. Yeah,
You know why it's gone up?
yeah,
It's gone up because people like you, me, and Germ go on here with full democratization to tell the goddamn truth. It's because we will tell you how we feel. We could be wrong, but we're not lying because we're telling you
Yeah.
how we feel and the truth from how we see it. And I know I, for one, have taken on this new media mantle very strongly, and I believe that we are in this business not so much to break news, but to qualify it, help people deal with it, tell them that the sun's going to come up tomorrow, a little bit of perspective, tell people it's going to be all right, and, you know, be it like I'm a fucking centrist.
Oh my gosh! No,
I see
no,
both
not
sides.
that.
Yeah. I see some points on both sides. I will say this is the worst I've ever seen the left, though.
Yeah. Well, until about a year ago, I bent over backward to be centrist, and now I'm not saying don't be centrist. I'm just saying
I was right wing. I'm centrist now.
well, well, I've gone back and forth.
And I didn't change.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
You know what it is? The definition is very loose right now because we're in a
It
time of
is.
political flux. But Booger 414 has started, but his channel, but not yet streaming. Let me tell you something. You want to move that to a brand new channel that's not the one that was created for you by YouTube. Don't use your personal YouTube channel, and do not use the email that you do business with as your contact email on YouTube because you will get dangerous phishing scams that can take your channel from you on that email. Create a new one just for contacting you and never look at it. I have never looked at my contact email. Germ?
Yeah, it's best not to use email for contacts on YouTube.
Well, you have to have one. You have to have one, but just grab something else, make a new account.
You have to have one, but don't give it to people.
Well, no, you have to have one to control your account, but then also the one to contact you does not have to be but that doesn't have to be your regular email. My email off my account that makes my channel is one email. My contact me email in my channel about, that's just the fucking fire and forget email. I won't open any of the emails because they're all dangerous spam. I will not look at any of them because they're all dangerous spam. And YouTube doesn't contact me through it, so I never have to. It has to be there, so it is. You have to have one. Just don't make it your personal.
Well, yeah, publicly available, I guess. But we do have to wrap this up.
And stick with Google or they'll punish you. Thanks for a great morning of cartoons.
That was a lot of fun. What's going on, Resolute? What are you doing?
This Monday, we have King Kong versus Godzilla, the 1962 classic, not the legendary one that came out, which was a piece of shit.
I am totally hoping that I'm available to co-host that with you. I have also learning a lot about monsters and kaiju. This guy's great. Sub this channel.
Yeah. And Wednesday, Nerd Night at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Open topic, open show. Screw the algorithm. Say whatever you want.
Fascio Commie Admiral Teague will be there. We love you all, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to my friend's show. We hope we entertained you. Tell your friends about us. Hit those like and follow buttons. Share the show and tell people about Resolute Germ. Mighty and amazing YouTuber. Hail, friend.
Thanks for being there, everybody. Have a good day.
Hey.